Well, butter my crumpets, my name is Donato and welcome back to my channel, where in this video I'll talk more in detail about less is more. That's right, the 3 training runs, that's right, only 3 training runs per week that I've been doing in the build up to Newport Marathon, where I ran a time of 3:07 at the age of 63. Next week I'll be 64, that's right. So without further ado, let's get into that detail. But before we go into the detail about training smart, not hard, a quick word from our sponsors, which today is me. That's right, there's a link in the description, the Calendly link, where you can book a free 30-minute consultation with myself to see if I can help you with your running and train smarter and not harder. I look forward to hearing from you. Let's have a chat, link below, shall we say. Yes, these 3 runs, a lot of you, it did cause a bit of a stir on that last week's video where they're saying, yeah, that's all great. I need to give you some caveats, yeah? Please, right, listen to this and listen to it all the way through, because I'm going to go through some golden nuggets. The first thing is, I did not invent this. I literally took it from a blog that I saw back in 2015. I think this was published. So I have not invented this training run. The distances and everything, I'll go through that, what I was doing. The 3 key runs, what they are, and again, it's nothing new. I did not invent this. The guy who wrote the blog, he was taking something from another book, of which has been a new publication of this recently as well, which I do have, and I'll go through that in another vlog because there's so much information here. So I have not invented any of this. In fact, there are some people out there who seem to think they've come up with some hacks. They use other words like game changers. There's nothing that's changing the game. I am not changing the game. 3 runs a week is nothing new. It's been around for millennia, you know. Running has been around for thousands of years. So if someone's coming up with some game changers, this is not a game changer. It might be a game changer for you though, because the current narrative, which came through on some comments, is it's all about high mileage, it's all about running every day, multiple runs a day, double thresholds, all that jazz. Yes, that's all great for some people, but for some of us, especially as we get older, we can't cope with running every day. We can't cope with doing double thresholds. We will literally fall to pieces, which is what was happening to me many years ago, getting injured regularly because I just could not cope with the volume. How we run, the style, the form, that all has an impact. So we're not all perfect runners. So what I've found is something that works for me, and maybe it could work for you. So you want to know the details. I know some of you said, what was the mileage? How long is a long run? What tempo sessions? I'll talk about the 3 types of runs again, and also go through the details of what I've done this spring for the spring marathon compared to last year's Manchester Marathon. So this year, 3:07, 3 runs a week, yeah, and I was running too fast. As you would have seen the video, I was doing some science tests for you to show what happens when you run too fast. Unfortunately, I could only keep up my quick pace for about 5-10 kilometers, and then I just didn't want to do any more because I knew what would happen, and I didn't really fancy walking, yeah, because that's what happens when you go too fast. Well, when I say walking, I use that word loosely. You know, you might drop a minute a kilometer pace, which is still running, but you're nowhere near your sub 3 pace, compared to last year at Manchester where I ran a 3:02. So 5-minute difference, yes, but last year considerably fitter, lots more mileage, because we all know, yes, if you can do the mileage, it's going to make you quicker, but for some of us, we've got to train a bit smarter, and that's what I'm going to go through now. Okay, the 3 kinds of runs. Yes, as I mentioned last week, the 3 types of runs. You'll notice that even though I'm talking about just 3 runs a week, those who are running every day or doing double thresholds days, they are doing these 3 types of runs in their training block as well, guaranteed. Number 1, speed sessions. Number 2, tempo sessions. Number 3, the long runs. So I'll take it in that order and explain what I was doing in that order. Okay? Speed sessions. Yes, I was only doing one type of speed session, right? And it was 800-meter reps. I know, almost like the Yasso method or whatever they call it, you know, where if you run 800 meters, the time it takes you to run the 800 meters on those reps, take the average, and that turns out to be your marathon time. So if it takes you 3 minutes to run 800 meters, you'll be running a 3 hours. If it takes 3 minutes 10 seconds, you'll be running 3 hours 10. I don't know how much that science works, but anyway, for me, the speed sessions was just 800-meter reps, and each week I would increase by a particular amount. Yeah, so I'd start off with, say, 3 or 4 800 reps in the first week, and then the second one, add another one, and so on. I think I might have peaked at around 12 800s. I can't remember exactly, but the full details of each of the run was on that blog. And I'll put a link in the description to that blog, and you can see how the 800-meter reps progressed, and there was rest in between those 800-meter reps. So it's important to allow the rest and recover during that, and not to get overly fatigued, which I'll be talking more about the FAT, or the fat in our training, and what's good fat, what's not very good fat. Let's get a bit of fluff off my nose. The second type of run, tempo runs. Yes, really simple. Again, this is so simple you think, oh my God, well, yes, it's all about specificity of what we're training for. And for this, I'm training for a marathon. So my tempo run was basically marathon pace tempo runs. Yep, that was it. And again, the mileage would gradually increase. I think the longest I would do is around 16K, 10 miles at marathon pace. And remember, this is the tempo run, not the long run. Yeah, I know 10 miles at marathon pace may seem like a long run for a lot of you, but that was the longest one. A lot of them were much shorter than that, but it was important that it was at marathon pace, and that's the key thing for me. What your marathon pace is, you need to work that out, and there's I could do a whole video on that in terms of heart rates, efforts, paces, and so on, and terrains. For me, I ran and round the this park here, the Riverside Park, which is flat as a pancake, so I know that I can maintain a particular pace. That was my tempo runs. Okay, the last but by no means the least important, I would say the most important, is the long run. Yeah, the long run for me. Now this is easy running with some marathon pace at the end of it, or for me I was mixing some of it into the middle of it. Yeah, so I wasn't following what was on that blog. At the end of the day, it's just some random person who wrote it, so I'm editing it and tweaking it to what suits me, what works for me. And the longest long run I had was, I think, 1, maybe 2 20-mile runs. I never went beyond 20 miles in a single long run. That was my rule, and I think when I did do that 20-mile race, I think I finished in about 2:32, 2:34, where I ran at a particular easy pace, and then I think the second half I ran at marathon pace effort. So that's what worked for me, and as I said in the description, there is a link to that. So what were the total mileages, which I know a lot of you will be asking, per month, per week? What was I doing? How did it compare to last year? I'll go into that now. So the mileage, I've got the mileage on here. I'll show it up on the screen as you see that. So I work, when I say mileage, I work in kilometerage. Yeah, being European, and also for some of you may relate, when I record in kilometers, the numbers are a lot bigger than in miles. Yes, that's right. 10K sounds a lot bigger than 6 miles, doesn't it? But anyway, so my distances are in kilometerage. So comparing January this year, 168 kilometers, to January last year, which was 247 kilometers. Yep, so 80 odd, not quite 100 kilometer difference, but it's the same pattern throughout all of that. But bearing in mind, right, and a lot of people would critique my training, and I did get a lot of flack from a particular YouTube video that someone produced, that, you know, I'm not doing enough miles and all that kind of stuff, because I did do similar mileage-ish this spring as I did for last year at Berlin. I did run more kilometers towards the end for Berlin Marathon. I managed to, I think, to get a few more longer runs through the summer. But I did feel more fatigued in that one. I didn't feel as fatigued with this one. I felt fresh and fast, and the speed sessions, I could really do some good speed sessions. Not all of them. There were some 800 rep days where there was just nothing going on. It's a nice way of putting it. And so if you go through February, 199, 200 kilometers near enough. March, 264, and then April, 153, because I think the Newport Marathon was in the second week of April. So the last 2 weeks I didn't do any running, or I didn't do any running for 1 week. Anyway, something like that. So it's low mileage, and as I said, this is what works for me. It may not work for you. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below what works for you. Do you think this is smart, or is it dumb? You know, because some people did say this isn't following the narrative, and I do get it. You know, doing higher mileage for endurance running helps us go further and faster. I get that. I totally get that. Yeah, but does there become a point where that doesn't work anymore? We've seen a number of elites burn out, blow out, and all that type of stuff. We've seen a number of YouTubers burn out, blow out, and they're all done now. They ran some great times back in the day, you know, 3, 4, 5 years ago, but they're all done now. It ain't gonna happen. So I always believe, and I know some will also say, train hard, not smart, I've seen, but and then they end up in hospital. Well, you know, whatever we do, make sure do what works for you. For me, that worked, and I'm going to persist with this. I'm going to do some tweaks. I've got some other info coming in, so I'm going to try and get some speed up and work from there. But I hope you found this useful in some way. Leave some questions, comments if you want more. I will be producing some more and more detail, but hopefully this has helped you in some way, because it certainly helped me, and I'm happy. I'm probably of an age where I feel comfortable challenging the narrative, because I think there's a lot of information out there which some people may have best intentions, some people are disingenuous, and some are just downright liars, yeah, covering up all sorts of things. It is quite remarkable. So whilst I hide my training on Strava, I don't show it. I do declare all the races that I've done, and I publicly show those for everybody to see on Strava. I do find it a bit questionable how some people are producing amazing content and there is nothing available, no stats, zero on any of the metrics. You can look up their stats on the results. Thankfully, London Marathon does have some splits, so you can see that, but they don't show the detail on Strava of what they've done. So what are they covering up? What are they hiding? So for me, I don't have anything to hide. You can ask me, the questions are there. I'm happy to share it like I'm doing here. You've asked, and I'm sharing you the detail that's on there. Some of you might think that's downright bonkers, but hey, as I said right at the beginning, I've not invented this, I've not created, it's nothing new, it's just something I'm trying. Found it on a blog, from another blog, whatever. He probably got it from another blog, and a blog back in the days only had blogs. Now it's all about the podcasts. Yeah, who can talk a good talk, and so on and so forth. But for me, it's about the results. The results speak for themselves. I didn't share the training because I knew it would come in with criticism. People will still criticize this and say, well, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's great. But the results speak for themselves. That result got me a place at the Abbott's Marathon World Championships in New York City Marathon, where I've now qualified to race for a place. Who knows, will I win the World Championships there? Highly unlikely, yeah? Depends who turns up on the day, who's paid the fees, because it's not cheap to get there. It's not for everyone. So I'm looking forward to New York City Marathon. I'm looking forward to sharing more wonderful, honest, juicy content here on the YouTubes. People choose to watch it, great. If not, do I look bothered? Am I bothered? Am I bothered? No. Take care, everybody. Love to see you all. Can't wait to read your comments below, yeah? Keep it all lovely and nice, like it always is. Bye-zy, bye-zy, bye. Bye-bye-bye. Have a good time. Go Vega! Woo! YMCA. YMCA. Do you like that?